Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're here with Andrei Poliakov, who is the co-founder and CEO of Coinberry. You've probably seen me talk with him before, but that was quite some time ago. So now we're coming back and seeing everything that's changed since then. Lots has happened in Canada, at least regarding regulations. So we're going to dive into all of that. But before we do, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, and a pleasure to be talking once again.
Absolutely. So, for people who missed the first interview, do you want to just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the crypto industry?
Sure. So my name is Andrei Poliakov. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Coinberry. We are Canada's one of Canada's safest and most secure crypto trading platforms. I got personally into this space back in early 2017 when we co-founded Coinberry. I saw a massive opportunity in an exciting industry and a new technology, and an opportunity to bring that technology to the masses. And so that was sort of the thesis for getting started with Coinberry, is really to create a platform that even my grandparents could use to have exposure to and be able to buy and sell some of the main crypto assets available at the time. And so here we are 4 years later, over 4 years at this point in time, making history, and really just very exciting time for us, and looking forward to the discussion.
Awesome. So, what was kind of the idea originally behind starting Coinberry, and like what was kind of the motivations behind that?
So you gotta remember, back in 2016, 2017, there were not a lot of platforms where you could actually go and safely and conveniently buy Bitcoin. Back then, you still had a lot of people meeting at coffee shops. You had one or two platforms that ultimately, some of them went out of business. We all know who that is. And a lot of people lost their money with those platforms. So you didn't have any real way to safely and securely actually buy Bitcoin. Like there was literally none. You had to wait for months to get onboarded onto some platforms, and or you just had to meet somebody in a coffee shop, neither one of which is very convenient or secure. So when we were starting out with Coinberry, that was our whole goal: is how do we create a solution that average, everyday Canadians can use, that's secure, that's simple, and that's convenient, right? And so that's sort of how we started with that whole thesis of creating Coinberry as a platform and as a solution.
Yeah. And for people who are more used to, using exchanges, or like that's kind of what they're exposed to currently, what would you say are some of the main differences, and from their perspective, what they could expect from going from like an exchange to using something like Coinberry?
Yeah, so Coinberry is a brokerage, right? So we pride ourselves with pooling liquidity. So we plug our algorithm into a number of global exchanges where we source, the coin that we offer to our clients. And ultimately, what that allows us to do is to have a very competitive offering on the market on the one hand, but ultimately from a user perspective, we focus on providing for a simple experience. You're not going to find very complex charting tools that you see, in the movies or whatnot, very experienced traders use. We focus on providing, an experience that is available on the web. We're available on the App Store and the iOS store. So it's very convenient. It's on your phone 24/7. If you're following the markets, or if you're reading in the news and you want to, buy or sell, have exposure. At this point, we offer 19 cryptos on our platform. Back when you and I were talking a while back, I think we only had 2, maybe 3. So we've grown our offering, and we have some really exciting ones on the platform now that we offer. But ultimately, our focus is on providing a very simple experience. So we're not after, complex or advanced charting or trading users. We are catering our offering to, as I mentioned, average everyday Canadians that are looking for a safe, a secure, and a convenient place to buy and sell the main cryptos available on the market right now.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sure there's a big gap for, many different demographics that they're trying to figure things out, and it needs to be as simple as possible to just, kind of bridge that gap. Um, so Coinberry was recently granted regulatory approval to trade across all of Canada. Do you want to speak to that a little and just talk about that process and about how regulation is currently affecting crypto in Canada as well?
Sure. So we started our sort of our journey down the regulatory path from day one, right? Right when we started the company, we were one of the first platforms to be registered with FINTRAC back before it was necessary to do so. And we approached the Ontario Securities Commission Launchpad, which is an initiative that they have for innovative businesses, about 3 years ago at this point in time. So it's been a very long, journey, but we believe in the safety and security that regulatory oversight provides. And so, when we approached them, it was quite an interesting discussion because this was so new to them at the time. And ultimately, through most of the last 3 years, we've gone through a lot of discussions and meetings and walkthroughs with the staff of the Ontario Securities Commission to get them comfortable with our platform, to walk them through the policies and the procedures and the safeguards and the insurances that we have in place, again, to give them comfort that our platform is an acceptable level to be granted registered status. And ultimately then, at a point in time, the Ontario Securities Commission brought us to present to the CSA, which is the the group that all the security commissions from all the provinces are a part of. And so we presented to all of the commissions across all the provinces and territories, had them become comfortable with our business and our team, and again, our policies and procedures and everything we have in place to safeguard. At the end of the day, it's all about safeguarding investor assets and putting investor interest top of mind, kind of, and top of the priority order for us, right? And so after all of that, I'm very happy to say that in late August, we were indeed granted registration to offer our products across all of Canada, and we're very happy to say that we're actually the first platform that's been born of the industry. That's a pure play crypto platform that actually received this registration status, and the only one to actually offer our users the ability to both fund with Canadian dollars, but also bring crypto onto the platform, and also withdraw not only Canadian dollars, but also withdraw crypto that they've bought from us from the platform and be registered to do so. So we're very excited to be sort of on the bleeding edge of the regulatory framework, and very happy to have achieved this monumental goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think this means for Canada going forward, and how is this going to kind of shape crypto regulation in Canada in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I think in general it's a very positive step forward. I think that a balanced regulatory approach that balances both, innovative companies and, safety, security, and convenience on the other hand is for the benefit of Canadians. And ultimately, I see the regulatory participation in this industry increase with time as the regulators give registration to more companies. Obviously, there are others that have applied. Ultimately, I think as the industry matures, as the regulatory framework matures, we're going to see more institutional and retail even traders that are currently sitting on the sidelines that are looking for regulated platforms to invest on. And I think that's a positive sign going forward for the industry. And ultimately, it's a positive sign, I think, for even the price of Bitcoin and the other cryptos, because the more interest, the more demand we have, obviously that drives up price at the end of the day. So I see this as a sign of how the industry is maturing, and I think that's a positive sign. And I at the end of the day, it's important because it protects investors, it protects the clients, it protects the users. Because the last thing any of us want to see is another Quadriga in Canada, right? So I think it's important that there's a balanced approach from the regulators, and I think it's important that companies that are serious about staying in this space, companies that are serious about making the investment in terms of time and energy and efforts and the money to get to an acceptable level in terms of the way they operate to become registered. It's important that these companies remain, and it's important that those companies that are not willing to do what it takes, it's important that they leave the market, because at the end of the day, again, it's all about investor interest, and the last thing we want is another disaster or fiasco, right? So we have to keep that in mind, and I support what's going on right now in terms of the regulatory participation in the industry.
Okay, cool. And in terms of like how you guys deal with like taxes, I know that Coinberry is one of, if not, as you mentioned, the only platform that currently helps people deal with processing their taxes on their crypto. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I'm sure that's a big kind of obstacle in a lot of people's minds when they're getting into crypto, or that's something that they're very concerned about dealing with. But this would obviously make that a lot easier.
Well, it's interesting because I saw this this little meme on I think it was Twitter a couple of weeks ago. I forget all the points, but the first point was something like 2014 only like computer nerds use Bitcoin, and like 2015 only criminals use Bitcoin, and like 2016 it was I don't know, and it just kept going and going, and then 2018 it was like only small companies use Bitcoin, and then jump to 2021. And it was like only small countries use Bitcoin. And as you know, today, El Salvador became the first country to actually accept Bitcoin as legal tender. So, I think that just the evolution of the acceptance and the utility of Bitcoin amongst, as just an example of the crypto asset class, but ultimately we're talking about Bitcoin right now. And so, the utility and the usability of Bitcoin is a proven fact at this point in time. If you think about it, rewind back 10 years, did anybody imagine we'd have people, being able to pay taxes with Bitcoin, or being able to, pay for goods and services at a store with Bitcoin, like they're able to do it, in El Salvador? I think most of us would say no, right? And that being said, here we are. And so I think it's very important for companies such as Coinberry that, that are focused on working with the government, working with regulators, providing safety and security and convenience to their clients, to continue doing so, because ultimately that's what drives innovation. And it's important to apply innovation to day-to-day settings, right? Because that then in turn increases usability, and then that increases interest, that increases investment, and then that whole sort of that, the interest once again funds innovation, and that sort of circle continues. So when we approached the town of Innisfil, I think it was in 2018 at this point in time, or 19. That was a great innovative team in place there that was very open-minded. A lot of people were very interested and had actually owned Bitcoin of their own at the town, at the city, like the town council, not council, the staff at the town that we were presenting to. And so they were very well aware of what Bitcoin is and sort of the potential that it has. And that was a great time for Coinberry, because we indeed, I went in front of the city council. There was a vote, an unanimous decision that took place, and they became the first municipality in Canada to officially accept Bitcoin as a form of tax payment, municipal tax payment. And to this day, they continue to offer this to their residents, which I think is, again, is a great testament to the not only the innovative and forward-thinking nature of the town and the mayor, but also the importance of companies such as Coinberry to continue working and innovative and working hand in hand with government and regulation to move this industry forward and make it more and more mainstream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it seems like Coinberry is doing a lot of the firsts, so to speak, in Canada. Is there anything else that we should be expecting that you guys might be doing first as well?
Well, we are looking to go public later this year, so that will be the first, I think, the first registered crypto platform in Canada to go public in Canada. So hopefully we can get that under our belt and over the next 4 months. We're working very hard to make that happen.
Awesome. So what problems is Coinberry kind of setting out to solve in the crypto industry?
So I think the main problem that we see happen right now is ultimately is one that, being registered was a big step towards solving, and that's allowing for institutional retail investors to for the masses, right, in terms of institutional retail investors, to have access to this asset class. Because ultimately, until that happens, this will remain a I don't want to say a fringe industry, but it will not become mainstream. And so what our goal is really our focus, and what we devote our time to is the creation of, a safe, a secure, and convenient platform that can give institutional investors that have a mandate where they can only invest in regulated platforms or through regulated platforms, or retail investors that haven't felt the comfort to do so yet, to have exposure to the space. What we are looking to create really is a sort of a hub where all your crypto needs and your ability to create and generate wealth through the access to crypto can be done in one place. And so that's sort of our vision, and that's where we're heading towards, is really to give Canadians that sort of wealth creation ability, to liberate them, but to liberate them, and give them access to safety, security, and convenience at the same time, and not, and do so in a very structured, sustainable, and growth-oriented fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. What are some big changes that are in the works or that we might see very soon? I mean, you did mention the company might be going public, but in terms of on the actual platform, is there any new features or anything like that we should be expecting?
Yeah, so we're working on, especially having gotten this registered status, we're working on a lot of very innovative products and services that we can now roll out having the status. I think some of the things in the short term that our users are going to see is there will be some suitability questions that will be asked of our users that will allow us to then advise is probably not the right word to use, but will allow us to review how suitable a certain investment is for a user. So, for example, there will be 3 categories of users. There will be accredited crypto investors, there will be eligible crypto investors, and there will be other users. Accredited crypto investors will have no limits on the amount of crypto that they're able to purchase on the platform. Eligible investors will have a limit of $100,000 that they will be able to purchase. Now, case in point, for example, if you're an eligible investor and you buy $100,000 worth of Bitcoin goes up, and now it's worth $200,000, you can sell that Bitcoin on Coinberry. There are no limits. And ultimately, there are no limits to how much you can sell on Coinberry. The limits will only be imposed on how much you can actually purchase within a 12-month period. And it's important to note that there are 4 crypto assets that will have no limits for all the users on the platform. That's Bitcoin, that's Litecoin, that's Bitcoin Cash, and that's Ethereum. So those 4 will not have any limits, and any of our users that are able to onboard on the platform will be able to purchase any of those 4 without any limits being put in place. Everything else, the other 14 coins that we currently offer, again, depending on what category of user you fall into, you may have different limits. So as I was saying, eligible investor will have a limit of $100,000, and then other, which is basically not accredited or eligible, will have a limit of $30,000 per month that they will be able to buy. Again, that's not to say that, a user would be able to buy $30,000 worth and sell, and then buy $30,000 again, and then sell if they sell the full 30. They just won't be able to have more than $30,000 worth of exposure at any given point in time over the last 12 months.
Okay, cool. And is there anything else that's kind of in the works, or rather, we haven't talked in quite some time, so maybe just updating our users, or my followers rather, on some of the changes that have happened over the past couple of years?
Yeah, so the company has grown phenomenally. We have staff that's phenomenal staff all over Canada now. We have staff globally. We've brought on some phenomenal individuals. We'll be putting out PR statements soon, but we brought some phenomenal individuals from MasterCard. We brought in some phenomenal individuals from Polymath and from Laurentian Bank as well. So we're really worked hard on really bolstering the team. We have a phenomenal customer service department that we've built out to service, quite a substantial influx of users over the last several years. And so, we focused really on building the team to allow us to continue to grow and sustain us through our growth. As it pertains to our users, hopefully they've seen an improvement, a massive improvement in our service levels. As we have built out a team to support us through our growth. We have worked on rolling out a number of new coins, and we'll continue to do so. We're at 19 at this point in time, and as I mentioned, we will continue to roll out new coins, and we're looking forward to very exciting coin offerings in the very near future. And we are looking at some super stellar products and services, as I mentioned, that I don't want to just let the cat out of the bag just yet, but let's just say we're working very hard on making Coinberry that one-stop sort of crypto hub for all of your listeners and our users' crypto needs, and really working very hard to allow them to build wealth through crypto, and not just simply buy and sell. Buy some Bitcoin and take it off the platform, or buy some ETH and take it off the platform, or buy some DeFi token and take it on the platform to stake elsewhere. So we're working very hard to really create an amazing, stellar user experience on the platform. You'll see some amazing changes in the near future. I can promise you that.
Okay, awesome. So possibly some DeFi, possibly some lending or staking or something around there. All right,
yeah, quite.
You can't say, right?
Those are all very good guesses.
Okay, fair enough. So where do you feel that Coinberry fits in with other exchanges, or if there are other brokerages in Canada? I'm not sure if there are. But where do you feel that Coinberry falls in that mix? How is it similar? How is it uniquely different?
Well, like I mentioned, we pride ourselves on being on the sort of leading edge of what's happening with this industry in Canada. We are the first pure play crypto company to receive registration with the OSC, we really value and focus on providing safety and security and convenience to our users. And there are a lot of other platforms in Canada right now that have varied offerings. Some don't allow their users to withdraw and fund crypto like we do. Some don't have the large amount of cryptos that we have on our platform. Whilst we do, there are other platforms that haven't really focused on being regulated or really building their internal policies and all their internal procedures so that investor funds are safe and secure, right? And so sometimes I think we see that platforms in Canada go out and they say, oh, we have the cheapest this or the lowest prices, but ultimately, what are the risks that are involved when you start cutting corners? And that concerns me, right? So it really does concern me when sort of platforms don't take a serious approach, because again, the last thing I want is for this industry to go through another fiasco in Canada. So we try to balance a number of items so that we really are able to give our users that sort of safe and secure and convenient experience without really exposing any one facet of our business or making it lag behind. And I'm looking forward to seeing more platforms take a serious position in the market so that the industry as a whole can continue to mature in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the next 5 years or so, where do you kind of envision Coinberry in an ideal world? Because obviously we know crypto is changing very rapidly. So in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you kind of envision Coinberry being at?
Well, I see this whole industry continue to sort of permeate through the masses, and I see Coinberry becoming a leader in Canada as a sort of a neo financial institution, neo bank with a very solid crypto foundation, where, as I mentioned, all of our products and services will continue to be rooted in in crypto, but ultimately will allow more and more Canadians and even people beyond, as we continue to expand internationally, we'll give them a balanced offering of not only a simple trading experience, but a simple way to create wealth, whether it's through lending, whether it's through borrowing, whether it's through credit services, but ultimately all rooted within a foundation of cryptocurrency and blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to specifically cover, whether it's regulation or something on Coinberry? I've gotten through all of my questions, so is there anything else that you'd like to touch on?
No, I think it's just, again, I just want to reiterate the fact that I think today's a very exciting day with what's happening in Salvador, and I'm looking forward to the day that, Canada issues, its own Canadian blockchain-based digital dollar, or ultimately starts accepting, Bitcoin as legal tender as well. I think that would be a phenomenal move forward and a very bold and innovative move forward. And I hope that Canada really takes a strong position as a country in this industry, because we have some phenomenal projects here that have taken ground and have really been born within Canada, and Coinberry being one of those, but there are others as well. And so I think as Canadians we have an amazing opportunity to take an even more so leadership role in the world as it pertains to this industry. And I really look forward to seeing what else we're able to, as an industry, how we're able to move forward, and what new innovative projects and ideas sort of will be born in the near future. And some of those I hope Coinberry will be able to support.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see how things play out, and it would be amazing if Canada could become more of a hub for crypto. Absolutely. So thank you so much for being on the show today. Everyone can go and learn more at coinberry.com. What are the socials that they can follow Coinberry? Where can they follow you? And where can they learn more?
Yeah, so you can definitely go to coinberry.com. All of our social media links are available at the bottom of the page. You can reach out to our team through coinberry.com, and we look forward to addressing all of your users' questions or concerns, and ultimately all your listeners' questions and concerns. And again, I hope to see everybody check out Coinberry and sign up for an account and check us out, and ultimately have a really prosperous future being exposed to and having the opportunity to buy Bitcoin, which right now is just super volatile, which is also super exciting.
And thank you so much for the work you guys are doing to help further regulation in Canada, and get us moving along more and bring more innovation to crypto. So thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me, and thanks to your listeners for tuning in.